Hey everybody, this is Robert, and thank you for tuning in to Station Square. Hope everybody is doing well out there. And yeah, we're just now in March, which is kind of insane to me, but yeah, just now coming off fresh from the Oscars from Sunday, and now we're just getting into springtime, which once again, time just really goes by so fast. So thank you so much for tuning onto the podcast. And today we have a very, very, very special guest in the corner. We have somebody who has been on my radar, so to speak, but we've been going back and forth for I think over about a couple of years now. But ladies and gentlemen, Nicole Oliver, thank you so much for joining me on this afternoon's episode.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm glad we could finally connect.
Yep, anytime, anytime. So I guess to start this off, how would you say that 2025 has been going for you so far?
Um, it has been interesting.
Boy, interesting. It's pretty
Interesting with a
broad. Yeah.
raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
Uh, in some
Pretty
ways
broad. Yeah.
predictable, in other ways completely tumultuous. It's very much a roller coaster year so far, but I'm kind of used to that. But being an artist and making my living that way. But yeah, it's been a little rich at times, a little much, but here we are. It's March, getting through, getting through one day at a time. Definitely, I think my motto for 2025 is one day at a time.
Boy, yeah, that is pretty much my motto too. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me this morning. Oh, no, afternoon. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Geez, my time. But yeah, I'm just really excited to have you here. And yeah, like I said, I've been wanting to speak to you for so long, and now we're finally doing this.
Yeah,
Yay!
yeah, great, yay, yeah.
So I guess to really kick this off, like, what has been something that you've kind of been, because I know you've been working on like so many in a lot of different projects. So you want to share a little bit about your current, I guess, sneak peek or just current endeavors of what you're kind of dabbling into as of late.
Yeah, I mean, what I can legally talk to you about without
Oh
getting
yeah,
in a
yep.
lot of trouble.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I've been doing this, being working in the entertainment industry for a very long time. It's been my only job, if you will, for 35 years, I think it is.
Right.
And the last few years, I've really been diversifying, and it's something I really personally believe in. Like, I think it's important to pursue your passion and dreams, but to allow yourself possibility to evolve and grow, And I like taking new challenges. So I guess probably the last decade that I really started adding voice director into the mix, working on animated programming. And I have a show, I think it's coming out May 1st. It will be on PBS, I can say that much, that I voice directed, and I'm really proud of because I was also music directing on this show. So a new evolution for me in my career, where I was helping the actors with the music, and working in tandem with the composer, not just recording words, but recording the songs, the sung words as well. So that's been fascinating and fun and challenging, and really excited to add that extra to like my list of accomplishments. And then on camera, I have another show coming out. I have a really lovely guest spot on Taryn Egerton has a new program coming out on Apple sometime in 2025. And I have a great guest spot on it. I can't really say too much about the project because it hasn't been, you know what I mean? I have to wait for the streaming company to release everything and then I can say more. But that was an incredible opportunity because I got to work with some actors I've really admired for a long time. I think I can say I had some scenes with John Leguizamo, and that was fantastic. So yeah. So this year, kind of, I have a bunch of things I've just finished working on in the last bit coming out, and still continuing to work with Molly of Denali on PBS and voice acting on a cartoon show, but I'm not allowed to say anything yet because it hasn't been announced. But it's really great that creatively I'm kind of working on all cylinders. I'm acting and I'm voice acting and I'm voice directing and now music directing, and so it's great. It's a lot, but it's really great. I'm very, very, very grateful and appreciative.
Yeah, right on. As somebody who is also a voiceover artist, like I have my booth behind me where
Yeah, it's
I just never. Oh, I'm sorry.
I said I can see it. Yeah, your booth. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of dark in there. I don't know if I turn on the light, you can probably see it. But yeah, this is pretty much where all the chaos and all the shenanigans happen. So, yeah, just been working out like a charm, and I'm just really. I mean, we were just kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, but the gratitude of just being able to do this every day, and just really make all your crazy imagination, just make all of it just come to life.
I know. I'm taking you for a little walk
Okay,
because, hi, welcome to my kitchen. I just heard a big thumping out here, and I want to
okay,
make sure. Aha, I see what it is.
what's
It's
up?
three really big crows that have decided to chase my cat. So we're just a little pause, just to make sure nobody was stealing anything off
Okay.
my property. And we're back. Hi. Hi there. Hi. Okay. Thanks for
Yeah,
taking the
hello. Yeah, we just thank you for the guide through your
my
kitchen.
dirty, messy kitchen. Yeah, it's real. Hey, I cook. I do cook. I'm a good cook, actually. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that'll probably be an episode in of itself. So, what is something that you like to cook? With Nicole Oliver 101.
Oh my God, so many things. Seriously? Oh, I love to cook. I love to cook. My favorite thing to do though is I love cookbooks. Like I really love cookbooks to get inspired. And I also really love just to open the fridge and go, what do I have? What can I do? Hey, Mr. Google, what could I make with a zucchini, a pepper, some eggs, and chicken? Go. You know what I mean? So I like being creative in the kitchen, which makes sense because I like being creative in life.
Yeah, being creative, that's pretty much the bottom line here. Is like if you're bored, just do something creative. It doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Alrighty. So apparently, so I like to do my research, and I don't know if somebody else also asked you this, but you've worked with Jeremy Irons. Am I correct?
Well, he actually was my teacher.
Yeah. So you did work with Jeremy for, yeah, imagine being t taught by, Scar from The Lion King. And I mean, even besides all that, he is just an incredible actor. So, yeah, share a little bit about
Prolific.
Jeremy.
He is
Yeah,
prolific.
terrific. Yeah,
Um,
very prolific.
I He actually taught us Shakespeare when I was at school
Uh,
in Oxford in England, and it was pretty wild sitting outside by the Thames and drinking a pint of beer and talking about Shakespeare and putting it on its feet. And you really realize you see all these people on the screen and stuff, and there's a magic. That's what the industry does. That's why we love it. It's make believe, but they're all people, and it was just really humbling to hear somebody you admire speak your same language, right? The same, and have the same curiosity for the process that you do. And that was at the beginning of my career. So it was very impactful to meet people you admire and to see that they're just like you, which then makes your dreams that much more tenable, that much more possible, that much more attainable, I should say.
yeah, and everything that you've learned from acting, you owe it all to Jeremy, or did you have like other?
No,
Yeah, I know you
I
probably
mean,
did
he
like,
was one
yeah.
of my teachers. I went to theater school for 4 years in
Okay.
Toronto, Canada, and had a bunch of teachers there. And then I trained in Oxford at a summer program through the Yale School of Drama. Had some incredible teachers there. And then, teachers in real life, actors I've worked with on set, and actors who've been kind enough to mentor me along the way. And so I try and really reciprocate that with the younger generation of performers coming up, to be available to answer questions, guide them, share my experience in the industry to hopefully maybe demystify things a little bit or to inform. So Yeah, I've had a lot of teachers, and I continue to have a lot of teachers. I mean, every time I work on a project, I'm always listening as much as talking and involving and trying to absorb what other people have experienced and what they bring to the table. Like, I really believe knowledge is power and empowering. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you did go to the British American Drama Academy for a while, and yeah, so would you say that going to the academy was very instrumental on helping you learn the foundations of acting and, just everything else
Yeah.
that kind of added on to that?
Yeah, I mean, I did that between my third and my fourth year of my theater school program. So I was already pretty much in it. But I think the biggest takeaway I took was my class was made of actors from all around the world. So from England, from the United States of America, from Canada, from Spain, from Argentina, from Russia, from France. And so English wasn't necessarily their first language, but acting was, right? And I think what it did was also any problems I felt I had as a performer weren't problems. It was just part of the evolution of learning how to unbuckle everything you hold on to so tightly so that you can play and perform and do something, which is really brave, is to be vulnerable and to share human experience so other people can feel it. So I think by uh, going overseas, when I came back for my the end of my fourth year, I was really clear that it was a global community I was entering into. It wasn't my problem per se, and I was also super clear that I was paying for my education. So I know I really tried to hold my teachers to the fire in my fourth year. Like, I'm paying for you. What are you doing for me? Right? Like, understanding that while it's an art, it's also a business, and the commerce side of it, you really need to have your head wrapped around, um, because often it is driving it is driving the artistic choices, right? It's not just about what we want to do, it's what we can do based on eyes on product, bums and seats, all those sort of things. So, yeah, it was a really formative time on many levels. And then just not being in your home country, being across an ocean, not knowing anybody, being on your own, learning self resilience and adaptability. And that was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, you just touched on something that is super important, which is, acting is an art form, but it is also a business, which I know that a lot of I don't know who is going to be watching this video because, like, the audience, like, when you're doing a podcast, a lot of people that get into the business are kind of like, well, and I mean, it's especially is the case with voice acting, where it's like, well, I could do this character, da 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 da, but it's like there's a lot more that goes into it. Like, there's training, updating your stuff. There's so much, like, look, you don't want to hear me go on a long spiel about how to succeed in voiceover 101, but trust me, like, when you say that it is like, because not only are you, you know, there's the artistic aspects, and then there's also like, yeah, so you gotta there's a lot of things that you could do to stay, consistent and being relevant, like discipline and so much stuff that kind of goes into this. Like I've been doing this for about 7, 8 years now, and there's still stuff. And I really love how you said that, you still have teachers and you're still learning. Like that's pretty much it applies to all of us. Like we're all still learning, we're all still
Yeah.
absorbing new information, and especially with these recent times with the rise of this AI stuff that's been going on, and we've had strikes, and yeah, we're just kind of still just, it's an industry that is always, that's going to continue to evolve, but it's also an industry that is like, it's unpredictable. Like, you never know what's going to happen, like, in a month or two. I'm just
Well,
saying.
you don't
Yeah,
go into the arts if you're not strong-willed and strong-stomached. I mean,
pretty much.
if you
Yeah.
need to have a reliable
Yeah.
paycheck, etc., this is not the arena for you. Um, I think people are attracted to the fame possibility, the kind of lottery winning possibility of it all. But that's 1% of 1% of 1%. Most artists live below the poverty line. And for me, I think my biggest pet peeve is you're not just a voice actor. You can't just be a voice actor. You're an actor, full stop. And I don't care how many funny voices you have. As a director, I hear auditions. If you can't act, no thank you. I need actors. I hope you have a great voice, but having an instrument, your voice ready to work for you, is a part of what every actor must have. And just because you can do a bunch of funny tones and hold it for 30 seconds doesn't mean you're an actor. Not in my books. And certainly not in the business world, right? And so there is, I think, that misconception that that's enough, and it's not enough. You don't do voices to your own little, you got to develop the characters and live inside those characters and understand how they tick and what they want and their psychological aspects and what they look like and what their relationships are to other people and how that makes them feel and how they want other people to feel. It's not just I got a funny voice, let's go. And so I think it's really important to understand that. I mean, that might work for you for a hot minute, but if you really want a career, then you need to treat it as it is a craft. And it's one that those of us who do it for a living take very seriously. And we're always training and we're always learning and we're always evolving. But everyone I know that's successful in the arts have trained, right? Whether it's through an established organization or a school, or on their own, building their own kind of training regimen with different teachers here and there. But it's not something you do by yourself in isolation, talking into a phone and listening back to see if it's going to work or not. It is an active practice of working with others. It's that cycle of act and react. And without the other half, it'll fall flat and it won't hold you for as long as you.
Exactly. Yeah. And I also kind of wanted to ask, like, since you said that in the school that you were in, there were like so many different students from across the globe. Do you remember any, like, were there like any notable names that you kind of remember from your time in the
Oh,
academy?
there's a couple of, I think, American names. I can't really remember. I mean, I think they did some, they've done some soaps and they've done stuff like I have. I mean, you know, have was Ryan Reynolds there? No, but he was certainly around Vancouver when I started, working on shows. I remember he was in the episode of Outer Limits, the episode after that I did back in the
That's so
day.
cool.
So, but he was just Ryan, and I was just, Nicole, and he's gone on and he's Ryan Reynolds. But, there's
Yeah.
lots of that. Like, it's really fun being in Vancouver. There used to be a place called Babalu's where we would all go out on a Friday night and listen to this great guy sing jazz standards, and he sounded just like Frank Sinatra. Well, that guy's Michael Bublé. And so we all start somewhere, and some of us have these incredible careers that are just inspiring, right? But if everyone did it, it wouldn't be special. And so you never know who's just going to time it all out. It's a combination of luck, talent, connections, all of it. And yeah.
So I also wanted to ask from, because you did like a lot of high school plays and theater and all so many different productions. So what was kind of the story of how you started doing like anime dubbing and getting into cartoons?
Well, so I used to be I was a dancer when I was a kid, and I was probably dancing 40 hours a week, and I really thought I was going to go into the arts and do that, and then I blew my knee out, and so that wasn't a possibility anymore. And so I thought, all right, I like to talk, I'll be a lawyer. And then I did the high school play, and that changed everything. And I said to my parents, I think I want to be an actor. And then, so probably my last couple of years of high school, I was kind of dabbling with some of the local theater companies and doing things and really liking it. But then my dad and mom said that if you want to be an actor, you need to get an education. So I auditioned for theater schools, and specifically theater schools that were in university settings that would provide a degree for me. And I graduated, when did I graduate? A long time ago. And I kind of graduated and went into being a working actor right away. And then I was lucky to get an agent right out of university. I got signed right out of university. And so I was auditioning for theaters and theater shows and musicals and television. And then they had a voice department. And the agent was like, "You've got a great voice. You should, why don't you audition for this spot? Come into the booth and read some stuff for me." And I did. And I booked my first audition, which was a national spot for Vaseline Intensive Care. And then I auditioned. They're like, and it was just part of what you auditioned for. Like if you had the chops for it and the tone for it. And then I auditioned for the original X-Men, and I played Risty Wilde on that. And then I auditioned for a show for CBS called Dumb Bunnies, and I did a guest spot on that, and I did a guest spot on Silver Surfer and other cartoons, which weren't dubbing. It was prelay. And then, dubbing really got in the rise in the early aughts, right? And so same thing, it was just an audition. And as an actor, you audition. You audition for whatever people would like to see you for. You're not a casting director, you are the commodity. And so I was auditioning and always have and will always audition for all things on camera, voiceover, whatever. There might come a point where I can say I really don't want to do any television right now, like when my kids were little, because I wanted to be closer to home. But that was what an incredible blessing to be able to say I don't want to do that right now because I have enough other stuff I could focus on, right? But that's really how it came apart. It wasn't about I'm going to be a voiceover dubbing performer. It was I'm an actor and it's my job to audition. And these are things that came across my desk. And so I tried for it and I went for it. And that's what I think you have to do as a performer is know all the different areas you can be employed in and hope like heck you get chances to maybe have that happen.
Yeah. Because, like I said, you've pretty much done, like, you're pretty much like a jack of all trades. I mean, you've done live action, film, TV, anime, video games, and animation. So it's just kind of like, with everything that you've been working on with all of these different projects, like, would you say that there's a certain, there's an area of just in all forms of acting, do you feel like you excelled the most in?
No, I'm a great actor, period. Full stop. Full stop. Um, I love all of it, right? I love being in front of the camera. I love being in front of a microphone. I love being on a stage. I haven't been on a stage probably in about 8 or 9 years now, and I would like to get back to it very much. Um,
Yeah.
you know, no, I'm to sound egotistical, I'm a damn fine actor.
Oh
you
boy.
know,
Yeah.
and I think that's it. I mean, why restrict yourself?
Exactly.
Why limit yourself? I mean, in all honesty, if you're scared to put yourself out there on camera, you're not any more sheltered just doing voiceover. There's no hiding in being a performer. You can hide in your part, but every part has a bit of you. That's where it starts, right? So I think it's you got to be willing to do what the job demands,
Yeah.
and and not limit and not restrict yourself because enough people will do that for you. You don't need to do it for yourself.
Yeah. Pretty solid advice. Um, because yeah, I know that with a lot of performing, like we could kind of be a little self-conscious, but I feel like it is always super funny. The moment that you step behind a microphone or you're just on a stage or just doing any of that stuff, it's just like it just all goes away.
It
And
should
it's
if you're
yeah.
acting.
Yeah,
Should if you're acting, because acting you're removing yourself, right? The subconscious, you should not be subconscious and judging yourself while you're in the moment, because in the moment's false.
exactly.
It's not.
Yeah.
And frankly then you need to do more work to get a better instrument to do the stuff you want to do, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean, it's all acting. And we're great actors in our life every day. So often advice I give to young people, I'm like, take a look at your life right now and how every day, every minute is a scene, is a movie. You're in something with somebody else. You have a relationship to that person that's going to kind of color how that little scene you're in is going to play out. And you obviously want something, even if it's, I just want them to love me, right? Not like I need them to pay my bill, but I want them to love me or something. And they want something from you. And those diverging and sometimes converging wants is what makes life so exciting, interesting, traumatic, dramatic, everything, right? The roller coaster. And so acting isn't safe. Entertainment world is not safe. This is about as high risk as you can get. But you have to be willing to walk that tightrope because you're being
Yeah.
brave enough to bring that to light. I mean, if everybody could do it, they would. And I think a lot of people go, oh, that's easy, I can do it, until you try. And then you realize, wow, this isn't just, for some people, being a pretty face is enough for a while, but are you going to have longevity? And that's more interesting to me. I'm not in this for like 5 minutes. This is what I chose. Well, or probably it chose me. So I had to do it.
Yeah. And because you've been acting for a long time and now you just mentioned that you've been directing shows and, just being a director, how is it like being on the other side of the glass of just directing actors after years of experience of just, doing the stage and all the showbiz shenanigans?
I love it. I love being part of a team. I love being part of a project from conception to completion. Sometimes as actors, you just parachute in for a short period of time and you leave. And
Yeah.
on set, you don't get to necessarily, if you're just in for one episode, you're not going to know everybody unless you're around for a long time. And then you start to know crew who are around for a long time too. But that's what makes it fun, right? Like you're playing together, you're creating something together. So I love that. I love working with young performers, from kids up to like new performers in their 20s, 30s, however old they may be when they decide to come to the industry, and sharing knowledge and helping people get their best out of them. I love that. And I also love trying to treat performers how I wish I was treated, frankly, when I was there. You know, there's lots of stuff, it's well documented about the industry, and it's true, unfortunately. So to be able to be in a position where you can support and give hands up and lift up, I think is great. And frankly, I think having been around for so long, I do believe it's part of my responsibility is to, like I said earlier, mentor. I had so many people do that for me, to have an opportunity to do that in a way. Like, I'm not saying I'm pushing my opinion and stuff on everybody, but as a director, certainly I have a mandate to get a project and you're hired to fulfill it. But if I can add that human air, tone on top of it all, which is, helping new performers find their wings and fly and get comfortable and seeing when it all starts to click and they really get it, it's really fulfilling. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. And apparently it just kind of extends to because with the stuff that you've been doing, I mean, I've seen you around in a lot of conventions that you've been doing, and this is kind of relates to that one show that is really big like a decade or so ago, and now it still is very popular, My Little Pony. So just being a part of that little community is just kind of like, how would you say that it was the whole experience of just doing the show and then just, interacting with the bronies just real quick?
Well, the show was a gift, right? But
Yeah.
at the time when I auditioned, it was just another audition that, as I said earlier, came across my desk. And so I auditioned for every part because to have a show with like 6, 7 strong female parts, that was unheard of. Most shows, any medium, 2 females max, usually one young, one old, that's it. And so to have a show that was feminine in the conception of it, female gender specific, was incredible. When you really feel like there's not a lot of opportunities, to have that opportunity was amazing. And then we did it, and then it just, when the fandom, that's something you can't predict, right? Then it took on a life of its own. And having the opportunity to travel and meet fans from all around the world who've seen your work, listened to your work, and that it's impacted them to the point where they've been inspired to become an artist themselves, or maybe act a little better or something. And the friendships that it's created, it's just really humbling and really really cool. Like I still get a wow about it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember back when the show just kind of first exploded around 2011, 2012, and it just kind of grew into this phenomenon. I was like, this show has a why is it? Because like at the time I kind of wasn't really watching a lot of TV, so I was just like, okay, this is let me check this out. And I just started researching like, the impact that it's had on I mean, there's been a lot of long-lasting friendships, marriages, just so much that has just been that has come out from this specific show. And, like I said, there's so many different conventions that are now being dedicated
People
to
have
it, and I'm
become
just like, yeah,
animators themselves. They're
yeah,
storyboard
they've worked on the
artists.
show from
Yeah, they're
starting off as fans.
actors.
Yeah,
They're starting their own companies. You know,
yeah,
it's incredible. Yeah, it's really 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 awesome. And I think it also allowed, that was probably one of my favorite parts, was just the creativity that the show sparked in people, and people who maybe had never really considered that creativity could be a part of their world, on a personal level, that they were able to jump into it, was incredible. And I'm also really proud of how the show bucked, there's my pun on purpose, stereotypes, and opened up, I think, possibilities for acceptance and a wider lens of how to view the world. So I'm really proud of it.
yeah. Because it was just something that is just like you said, it was a show that you've auditioned for, then it suddenly grew to be even bigger than you could possibly imagine. And now we're here 15 years. Yeah, 15 years later since it first came out. And yeah, it still has such a very strong, dedicated fan base. So
Yeah.
yeah, I can't really imagine where we would be without this show.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. Really, really cool.
Yeah. So I think because you were working on My Little Pony and then you did Littlest Pet Shop for a couple of years. And I also remembered that show was on The Hub, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Yeah, so
so.
that was like another really fun show that I just watch from time to time. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's great. I've had a great career to date, and you know, I'm excited to see where it's going to go next because I'm certainly not done. Um, you
Yeah.
know, so yeah, like I said, it's a roller coaster. It's got to buckle in and be ready to ride it to the end, and I am.
Yeah. There's plenty more that I wanted to ask, but I think just for the sake of time, I think this is kind of like a good note to end on. So thank you so much once again, Nicole, for joining me today. And yeah, what is something, I know you've gave like a lot of really outstanding advice, but what is something that you wanted to leave, like last bit of, I guess, wisdom that you want to share with the audience before we officially conclude this episode?
I think, oh, wow, think before you speak, speak with kindness, be willing to walk in other people's shoes. You're not always right, and it does always get better.
Yeah, and just do it. I know it sounds very basic, but just do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I've got.
Give yourself high
So,
fives, take a deep breath, and buckle in. You know, let's go.
yeah. Let's see. Since you've probably talked about a lot of the projects that you're doing right now, where can people get in, where can we check out your stuff? Like website,
Sure.
social?
Yeah. Well, I have a website. It's NicoleOliver.com. And I try and update that as often as I can. But I am still on Instagram, which is official Nicole Oliver. I think I'm still a presence on X, and I do go on every once in a while. And my feed is actually not too toxic, so that's pretty great. But if you go to my website, NicoleOliver.com, you'll see all the places, and there's links to my social media where you can find me. I am not on TikTok, and I will not be. I mean, I have my space on TikTok reserved, but I'm not on TikTok. That's the one place you won't find me. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I deleted my TikTok, so I really don't. You're not missing
And
much.
Instagram's the best bet to find me. Yeah.
Yeah, same with me. So, yeah, would you like to close this out, with a little outro that I do for the show?
Sure.
Yeah, so all you have to say is, my name is Nicole Oliver. I've done this, this, and this. You've heard me, blah, blah, blah. And this is Station Square with Robert Jackson. Station Square
Okay.
Podcast. Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
Hi there, it's Nicole Oliver. You know me from Nancy Drew, My Little Pony, Hallmark movies, lots of things. And this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson.
Did it in one take, because that is always the best take. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, hope everybody, like I said, is doing well out there and continue to blossom in spite of everything that's just been happening. So we just thank you all so much. And I appreciate you being here. And I don't have anything else to say. So I'll leave you with
Well,
take care, y'all. Live long and prosper. Boom.
thanks,
There
Robert.
you go.
Take care,
Thank you
hon.
so much.
Bye-bye. Thanks for
Bye
having me.
bye. Thank you so much.